Sports.
So this is one of Kyle Draper's songs that he's really into now, but not this version, right?
Not this version, but it's still solid. Layla by Eric Clapton, the live version. I wonder, too, you hear this version, it's more upbeat, more rockish. I wonder if as he got older, did he, started doing it the live version, which is more melodic, a little slower.
I know this isn't the version you're talking about,
Yeah.
but I think this is a live version.
This a live version too, huh?
I think this was a different live version.
Live version.
You like the kind of bluesy.
Yeah, acoustic almost kind of. Yeah. I like them all, man. This is my kids hate this song because I'm singing it in the living room and in the kitchen all the time. When he says Layla, I look at them and they don't like it. It creeps them out a little bit.
Written about George Harrison's wife.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little baseball here. You getting really excited about the A's being here?
Oh, yeah,
next
100%,
year.
100%.
Now that we have, we're talking about the
schedule,
Kings schedule, and there's some of those dates there where there will be the A's playing in Sacramento and the Kings playing in Sacramento.
Yeah,
unprecedented
doubleheader here in downtown Sac, basically.
Mm-hmm. Do you know the A's yesterday? They beat the Mets, as we discussed yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It was the longest 9-inning game since baseball went to the pitch clock,
and it wasn't just long, Whitey. It would have been long without the pitch clock.
Yeah.
What was it, 3 hours, 40-something minutes? Or
3-something, over 3.
Well, closer to 4.
Yeah.
And it's like, how does that happen?
I don't know.
In the pitch clock era. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think of this idea? And apparently it's just something baseball's thinking about. They don't even know where they would start implementing it. But they're thinking of making a starting pitcher go 6 innings. The idea being then the pitchers would have to pace themselves. They wouldn't throw as hard, and it would be easier for the hitters.
I'm out on that. I'm sure our next guest is out on that, too. It just sounds wonky to me.
Yeah, here he is, a host of the Rob Dibble Show on 97.9 Fox Sports Radio in Connecticut. And, of course, two-time All-Star reliever, key member of the Reds World Championship team. Mr. Rob Dibble, how are you, Rob?
I'm great, guys. How are you?
Good.
We're doing fine. We're just wondering what you think of this. It's not even a proposed rule yet, but baseball apparently, as you know, thinking about forcing starters to go 6 innings. Rob, what do you make of that?
Well, I wish I could just throw 95, 96 miles an hour. I mean, it's not that simple. I'm coaching high school pitchers right now, and these guys are just starting to get to the point where they're throwing in the high 70s, low 80s. And every pitch is an adventure. Trying to throw an off-speed pitch, trying to throw a breaking ball, just trying to throw a strike. So Rob Manfred knows nothing about baseball.
Do you think he even likes baseball, Rob? Do you think he likes baseball?
He does not. He called the World Series trophy a hunk of metal.
Oh my God!
He was quoted as saying, "I watch a handful of games." So a guy who doesn't really watch the sport, doesn't really show up in person that much. Not like Adam Silver or Roger Goodell, who show up at like every game they can. Just stop. The pitch clock is fine. I don't care. I don't care about the pizza-sized box bases and stuff. None of that stuff matters. You're getting. It really is the not establishing contact rule with looking at guys at first base and stuff like that. You can't disengage twice. That's fine. None of that stuff really bothers me. But when you start messing with pitchers, and there's so many arm injuries, and the last 20 years of my life, I've talked to dozens and dozens of orthopedic surgeons locally. We have an orthopedic outlet here that spent $150 million on their hospital. They've seen a 500% uptick of 12 to 18-year-olds in Tommy John surgery. So with all of that knowledge that I just told you, all these doctors and stuff like that, you still want to mess with pitchers. All the injuries. Now, watch the Little League World Series. I've been watching all the games. Was just at a perfect game tournament up in New York last weekend. 13U. I coached 13U and 15U games. Kids are throwing 60 to 70% breaking balls. That's the issue. When I was that age, I didn't even learn a breaking ball, by the way, till I was 20. And in 22, Ed Figueroa showed me the one that got me to the big leagues by 24. So just think, those 4 years, I just started throwing breaking balls. The rest was 2-seam, 4-seam, 3/4, sidearm. I just changed location on fastballs. It had nothing to do with velocity. I could always throw strikes. So think about that. Major league pitchers right now are throwing 60 to 70% off-speed stuff. Little leaguers are doing it. That's what's killing their arms. So talking about 95 velocity, that's not what's killing the game. What's killing the game is the 10 years of launch angle. Guys with 2 strikes don't cut down on their swing and put the ball in play. So you got, and I just looked at this yesterday. There's 16 teams right now in the major leagues that are hitting below. This is teams, not players. Hitting below 245 as a team.
Jay's shaking his head. Jay can't believe that. Jay can't stand
245 as a team.
Yeah.
And now you only have 7 guys hitting over 300, 2 of which are on the Yankees. So, that's the entire major leagues. There's such a deficiency in hitting. It has nothing to do with the velocity of the pitchers. It's the philosophy of hitting from the major leagues down to little league.
Rob Dibble joining the Drive Guys. Rob, continuing that point from a pitching standpoint, when it seems like the hitters are all feast or famine, home run or strikeout, how does that impact the pitcher and how they prepare, how they throw, how they get ready?
Well, a lot of it is these analytics have gotten into the pitchers' heads in the minor leagues and even in college that if let's just say one guy, and I coached in LA for 10 years out there, so I saw this too with the kids that I was coaching. If one guy turns around your 95-mile-an-hour fastball, I go right to my breaking ball. I was like, listen, the entire lineup has to show me they can hit my 95 before I go to my second best or third best pitch. So what I'm saying is the analytics people have gotten into the heads of the pitchers that, oh, no, your off-speed stuff's better than your fastball. Dude, 95 is still unhittable at the major league level. There's very few guys that can turn around 95. Aaron Judge has mastered now hitting balls the opposite way and dominating outside portions of the plate. And then when you do throw him inside, he'll hit a 400-foot home run on a bad breaking ball like the other night, the 3-0 pitch that he hit his 300 home run on. That was not even a strike. That was just the inner portion of the plate that he was just like, I could turn on that. That's not a problem. So the problem with the philosophy of pitching right now is everybody's afraid to throw a hard fastball and continue to just challenge guys. I was brought up, when I was brought up in the big leagues, I pitched you away, pitched you in, but worked the outside portion of the plate until you could hit a fastball the other way. You no longer see that in the major leagues. You see guys throwing it right down the middle, locating right on the middle. They don't try to go inside, and then they'll throw their breaking ball from the middle cut away, and it's a ball all day. So you see guys throwing 100 pitches in 5 innings, and they can't finish games. So part of that, you can only throw 95, 96, and minimum 6 innings. Very few guys go 6 innings anymore. So there's a lot of backward thinking that has screwed up pitchers all the way, like I said, from junior high, high school, all the way to the major leagues. Guys are afraid to just challenge hitters anymore.
Catching up with one of the nasty boys, Rob Dibble, 2-time All-Star, member of the 1990 World Champion Reds, and host of the Rob Dibble Show. Speaking of the psychology of it all, Rob, the first thing I always think of when I think of you is, I used to play a Stratomatic, and the massive strikeout totals that you put up. 477 innings, 645 strikeouts. What was the psychological advantage you had, you and your nasty boy teammates? What kind of advantage did you have when you could just dominate major league hitters like that?
Strike one. So let me run numbers by you. So if you get strike one on a hitter, major league hitters, 7 out of 10 times you get an out. So I already knew the percentages going in. Now, remember, my roommate was Norm Charlton, 3 degrees from Rice University. We used to just do this all day in the bullpen. And so the 70% ratio going in, I know that I'm going to get these guys out, whether I get a ground ball to my Hall of Fame shortstop or I pop them up or strike them out. So strike one was the most important pitch, whether it was an off-speed breaking ball that I would lob in there or a fastball that I throw in there. All right, now I'm already ahead 0-1. I'm getting 7 out of 10 times. I'm getting you out. 0-2 at the major league level. And you could check this. You could check it on Mike Trout's stat, checking on Albert Pujols' stats, any of these amazing hitters. You get a guy 0-2, his batting average goes from whatever his lifetime average is to 150.
Whew.
So 0-2, I got you 0-2, I'm going to strike you out 9 out of 10 times when I'm 0-2. So your batting average goes down. Now, if I reverse that, because I also did this in my head, if I fall behind 200, 2-0, you have now made a 300 hitter a 400 hitter or better. So you never want to be 2-0 in a count. You always want to be on the other side of 1-2, 0-2, because it puts them on the defensive. So the strikeouts came more so of me pounding the strike zone. And also the third thing that in my mind, let's say I got a guy on first with one out. And I say this to all of my high school pitchers that I work with. You're one pitch away from getting out of this. Ground ball to your shortstop, double play, you're out of that. Why would you overthink this? Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm like, listen, you got a guy on first with one out. You're one pitch from getting out of this. Stop overthinking this, that you're in trouble. That's the problem. When you see guys on the mound in high school or college, they feel they're in trouble with a runner on base. I thought that was an asset because when I first came into the games in the major leagues back in the 80s, I was coming in with the bases loaded or first and second, one out. And I had to work out of a jam because inherited runners were the biggest thing on my plate back in the day. So I'm thinking, all right, I need to get a pop out right here and maybe a strikeout. So that's why I continued to pound the strike zone, but I also pitched to contact. When you throw 95 on the outer half to a righty, ground ball to your shortstop. And that starts either a double play or you get at least an out. So a lot of the things I was doing was pitching to contact, pitching location, and work ahead, and I can strike anybody out.
Rob Dibble joining us here on The Drive, guys. Rob, what do you make of the way relief pitchers, are used nowadays? You know, used to be starter, setup man, closer. Yep. Now you got specialists. You know, what do you make of that, the way baseball is going in that way?
And the way, like you said, you used to enter and you had to keep guys, inherited runners off base. Closers now, it's like, oh, he needs a clean inning. He can't come in with runners on.
Yeah, and that's psychological. And listen, the game is 90-95% mental, and a lot of it is insecurity and that these guys are lacking a little bit of confidence, but they're still the best in the world. You've got 8 guys out there. So I used to have 5 guys out there. And so you had, 10 guys on a pitching staff. Now you have 13, 12 or 13. No one can ever get enough work to where they're sharp, meaning mental. If I didn't pitch every day, this was the problem that led to my demise when my workload went from 100 innings to 50 innings a year. I didn't get enough work, and when I did get the work, the adrenaline basically blew my shoulder out, because I wasn't consistently throwing like 3-4 days a week, throwing in the bullpen every other day. They were like saving you. So when I look at closers today, I'm fascinated by how good they are. Kenley Jansen, I see him all the time, or Clay Holmes, guys like that. Edwin Diaz has had his lapses this year where he doesn't want to be the closer because you're doing too much sitting, is my point. And so whether it's the NBA and you're sitting at the end of the bench, whether it's an NFL guy and you're not getting reps, or you're on the bench in big leagues getting 150, 200 at bats, that's not enough. You need more reps, more repetition to psychologically have an edge. And that's what made me an all-star and made me a closer was basically, that's what killed my career. When I was the middle guy, the setup guy, and I was hungry and the bases loaded, kept me locked in, was a lot easier than a 3-0 lead going into the 9th inning with the bases cleared. I hated that. I absolutely dreaded that. So I'm fascinated by the guys that love that and persevere in that. Like a Kenley Jansen, I think he's one of the best closers I've ever seen. For him to do what he does, or Kimbrel and guys like that, it's not that easy. They make it easier than it really is.
Rob, I have to ask you about the 1990 World Series. Jay's a big A's fan.
You have to?
I have to. Here's the question. I mean, I know the A's were favored, and you guys were a lot better than a lot of people realize. I get that. They were favored. You beat them. I get that. But how did you sweep that A's team?
All right, so let's start with, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. A's were my team. I loved the 72, 73, 74 A's. So, first of all, now I'm playing against a team that I loved, which is crazy and ironic. But for those guys, they were not good fastball hitters. They were what we called bad breaking ball hitters. They were guys that liked the hanging breaking ball or a breaking ball away. They loved to pound those. Canseco, McGuire, Carney Lansford, Dave Henderson, guys like that in the lineup. So our philosophy after the Pirates series was we're going to pound them high and tight, and we're going to work them low and away with off-speed stuff. And really, Ricky was the only guy that hit 300 against us in the series. The other guys, we just kept pounding them. So Beating them, I think it wasn't as easy as we made it look because they were such an amazing team.
Mm-hmm.
But after we got by the Pirates, I in my heart, I believe the Pirates could have beaten the A's that year, or we could have beaten the A's that year. That's how strong both of those lineups were. The pitching staffs, you had Draybeck, Bob Walk. You had all those guys that were really good. Bill Landrum was their closer. They had a really good team, and we had a really good team. So I think it was more of, whoever was going to play against the A's was ready because of that NLCS. So it was as much that we didn't have a 20-game winner. We didn't have a guy that hit 30 home runs on our team, but we had a family in that clubhouse. So when they came to town and they had the long hair, and remember we had no long hair, no facial hair. You had to show 4 inches of your sock, all kinds of different rules and regulations. When they got off that plane and we saw them come into Cincinnati, we were fired up. We're like, look at these guys, man. They're all Hollywood surfers. We were really, really bitter when they got off that plane.
Oh, Oakland squad called Hollywood and surfers, Jay. Oh, my gosh, man. I got to make you crazy. Hey, Rob, speaking of the A's, man, what do you make of the way Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred have handled this Oakland A's stadium situation? They're going to be here in Sac, it looks like, for 3 years at least. Just your read on all this.
Well, first of all, I love the Oakland area, the Bay Area, San Francisco, man. That's one of the best places to play baseball. Loved playing, especially going to San Francisco, too. That's a gorgeous ballpark. I don't know why you couldn't have built another one around there. Listen, you've had 3 stadiums in Atlanta since the 96 Olympics. How could you not get something done out there? It's even Tampa Bay. They've screwed Tampa Bay. They've screwed Oakland, and I don't understand it. But for some reason, they were never able to get that deal done. I feel bad for the great fans of Oakland and that area. I lived in L.A. for 10 years. I love the sports out there. You're spoiled. I mean, you got so much out there. Being from Connecticut, where I am, man, it's Boston or New York and UConn. That's all we got around here. So it's sad that they got to go to Vegas. They'll get great fans and great fan support in Vegas, but Manfred, he screwed that up. He should have been in there and been like, listen, either you build a stadium or we'll build it in San Jose or we'll build it in Sacramento, but you could have gotten it done in California. I believe that. Yeah.
Rob, we'll let you go on this one. And I love to ask baseball players. It seems like there's always a guy, but who hit a ball off you so hard that you'll never forget? Was there anybody? I know you were phenomenal.
Kevin Mitchell. And then I got to play with him and realized that guy could hit anybody. Mitch was a tough out for me. There's guys like Tony Gwynn that were amazing, and hitters like that. But those are contact guys, so I wasn't really worried about them hitting a home run off of me. But Strawberry, Kevin Mitchell, Kirk Gibson, those dudes were a nightmare in my brain having to face them because they were fearless. There was no way to try to intimidate them with all of my antics and all my throwing inside stuff. It didn't matter. So they would stand right back in there and give you their best effort. But for my money, the hardest ball hit, they clocked it at 99 away. He hit it 450 to center at Riverfront for a game winner. It put them in the lead, and they ultimately won the game. But it was a blast. And other than Albert Bell or Joey Bell, as he was known in the minor leagues, he hit one 500 feet off of me in Nashville. Kevin Mitchell was the guy that hit balls the hardest off of me.
Wow, we were just hanging out with Mitch a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Love Mitch. Give him my best. Love that dude.
Yo, Dibs, before we let you get out of here, I got to mess with you, man, because I always talk about I haven't been able to find a jersey, a Chicago White Sox Rob Dibble jersey, because I just refuse to get a Cincinnati Reds jersey of Dibs.
I was hoping you'd say Brewers
Dibs,
jersey.
Help me out. How can I get a White Sox jersey from you?
Either I get one made. That's not a problem. I'll see if I have one.
Got one in the garage.
You don't want a Brewers one, Jay?
I'll take a Brewers. Anything but the Reds. And Dibs knows my heart, man. I refuse to rock a Dibble, Reds jersey because they took care of my A's.
I also have a Marlins one, even though I was hurt all in '96.
Well, that might be the one. That's the flyest colors.
All right. There you go. You like that teal, do you?
Rob Dibble, thank you very much, Rob. We appreciate it, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Anytime, guys. Take care.
Man, that guy threw hard.
He was nasty with it.
Yes,
he was
nasty.
nasty.
Yes. So yeah, talking a little baseball with Rob Dibble. The deal on this rule that baseball, according to ESPN, is thinking about would be starting pitchers would have to go 6 innings. That way they'd have to stretch things out, and then they wouldn't be able to throw as hard. Right. And then that would lead to fewer injuries. That's the thinking. That's the
what
reason.
they're thinking.
Rob Dibble said that doesn't make any sense. But that's how desperate baseball is here to do something about the batting averages that are just plummeting.
Yeah, the batting averages, and, the starting pitcher used to be meant something.
Right.
Now, it used to be a source of pride. Guys go 8, a complete game, let's say. Now, get me to 5, if that.
Now, you're pitching a no-hitter, and they'll take you out after 7.
Yeah, and so from a fan perspective, I think I would rather see the starter elongated a little bit. But a mandate, a rule, it doesn't make sense, Mm-hmm. Didn't you got to put in a clause if a guy's getting shelled, he's able to come out? Like,
I think what they have now is if a guy gives up 4 earned runs, you can take him out. If he gets hurt, you can take him out. Or if he throws 100 innings. And it's not even a real rule yet. Yeah. But these are the parameters they're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's fine. To Rob's point, we have to get back to the pitchers being able to go longer. And it really starts in the youth baseball that he was talking about.
Definitely.
Young guys shouldn't be throwing breaking balls at 12,
Definitely.
13, 14, whatever it is, Jay. I think that's the issue, not necessarily a major league issue. It starts at the youth level.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard the stories? And I think people have realized this is a bad idea. So I don't think it happens anymore. But 10 years ago or so, you would hear about parents who would take their kids in for Tommy John.
Yes.
Get it before it even happened.
Yeah, right. Because they thought, he'll be able to throw harder.
Right, exactly. Get it taken care of now. I know.
Have you, and you guys been around sports and baseball for a long time. Have you ever spoken to someone who's had Tommy John?
No.
On a personal level?
No.
It's interesting because
I've spoken to Tommy John.
Bro, well, yeah, there you go. Well, that's the first of all. First, on a personal level, though, like you said,
radio interview. Just a radio,
yeah. Like if you have, because it's a year-long situation. Like you're stepping, it's almost an Achilles in basketball, football.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a field or throw a ball for probably 12 months and maybe a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you start to talk about 15, 16, 17-year-old kids.
Yeah,
like, you're going to school and doing other things, and you're in a sling,
growing. And,
it's tough, but it's funny. Me and Dibs used to have this conversation quite a bit when we worked together at Fox. Was when do you start to throw something other than a fastball? And he talked about it with you guys, and he just changing his finger, movement, 4-seamer, 2-seamer, across a split, a cut, or something like that. Where when I was in Little League, if you had one person who put a little wrinkle on the ball, we used to call it a drop ball. Like that was a drop. It wasn't even a curve yet until you kind of got to seniors, majors, that type of stuff. And then you might come across a person who could throw a little knuckle or, something.
Like
now,
a palm ball
a
or
palm
something.
ball, which is pretty much a change up, a glorified circle change up in the back of your hand. But now, as Dibs is saying, you look at the College World Series, and I'm looking at it, you got guys, that's all they're throwing.
Hooks.
That's it.
Yeah.
Barrizitos, 12-6. You're going to have physical problems by time you even get out of high school.
That's unfortunate.
That's tough, man.
When we come back, we got Jay's top 40 King nominee. He says it's going to stir it up. We'll give you an update on our top 40 Kings of the 40 years in Sacramento. Jay says he's got somebody that we need to talk about. So we'll do that next on Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom